Oh, hello, yes, well, just a sort of day of us staying in and preferably trying to avoid the media because it really has surpassed itself in so many ways. When we think historically, yes, I do that occasionally, even though I have the wrong history in my head. This is very, very true, everybody. But anyway, when we think historically, we often end up with turning points whereby, especially in modern democracies, the media has actually exactly encapsulated the mood. Unfortunately, we don't have a media that's capable of operating like that at the present moment in time, and presumably for the very, very, very long-standing future. So it's worthwhile thinking back to Senator Joseph McCarthy. Yes, him. And how his particular brand of very, very nasty media adventure died. I'm going to quote here from an overview. The Army hired Boston lawyer Joseph Welsh to make its case. At a session on June 9th, 1954, McCarthy charged that one of Welsh's attorneys had ties to a communist organisation. As an amazed television audience looked on, Welsh responded with the immortal lines that ultimately ended McCarthy's career. Until this moment, Senator, I never really gauged your cruelty or your recklessness. When McCarthy tried to continue his attack, Welsh angrily interrupted, Let's not assassinate this lad further, Senator. You've done enough. Have you no sense of decency? Yes, indeed, but of course our own glorious people have no sense of decency, and they have no fear that our media will actually point out that the things that they spoke this morning are different from the things that they spoke this afternoon. And yesterday was full of delightful characters, the primary one of whom was, of course, Robert Jenrick, who managed to actually squirm a couple of times because he was asked some fairly awkward questions about the actual fact that the actual government that was been in power for actually the last actual 15 actual years hasn't actually done lots of the things that they're now complaining about. But apparently the man who probably most famously decided that murals on a children's centre were a little bit too nice for them, has suddenly decided that he's vastly, vastly concerned about children. And of course, we have no evidence of that, and he himself, of course, squirmed because he has no evidence of that. Still, it doesn't really matter, does it? The extent of his cruelty just goes on and on and on. Sure, in the certain knowledge that he can just complain bitterly about communists in the state apartment, or indeed just how really awfully dreadful other people were at the same time when he was minister for various things, yes? A man who tries desperately to pretend that he's very, very Christian, and yet his Christianity only ever seems to extend to the most, well, medieval, just to use his words, aspects of American evangelicalism. And when push comes to shove, he won't actually even vote that way if his own party doesn't want him to. But now, once again angling for the top job, we'll come back to the PM's job, dear God, he, of course, magically has decided to rewrite history. Good grief. And we also still have a continuing thing with Elon Musk, who managed to, just in one tweet, absolutely encapsulate exactly the issue that's at hand here. Because this isn't about a religious group who are very, very nasty, and this isn't about necessarily young women who are particularly prey to that particular religious group. What it's about is a class-based position. I know Novara Media a couple of nights ago actually sort of pointed this out, but it's worthwhile reiterating it. Musk says, for example, my British grandmother, Cora Amelia Robinson, was an important part of my childhood. Hooray! She was very strict. Ooh, but she was kind. I would always count on her. Well, that's good. Let's call that a parent, Elon. You might want to take some lessons there. That's parental stuff, adult things. Anyway, she grew up very poor in England during the Great Depression, only to be bombed in World War II. To earn money for food, she cleaned houses, leaving me with a lasting respect for those that do so. You can believe that, I suppose. My nana was one of the poor working class girls with no one to protect her, for who might have been abducted in present-day Britain. Yes, you see, it's a class-based position, and there he is, fully appreciating that his own particular children, apart from maybe one of them that he doesn't like very much, or is it all of them? I lose count of exactly how many of them are talking to him. It's a class-based position because his own kids won't be put into that, because this is all about people right at the bottom of the pile who their entire structure of the British state has basically thrown under a bus for the last 15 years. There are no children's services, and speaking personally, I'm dealing with a kind of bit of fallout from that right now today. Yeah, if you have a young person in crisis who's a young poor working person in crisis, well, tough. They're just going to have to, buck their ideas up, otherwise something bad might come down on them. Astounding views of the world, like Robert Jenrick's, of course, and for the rest of them as well. I mean, the unedifying spectacle of the Tate brothers yesterday deciding that they're going to run for Prime Minister. I don't know. It's beyond being absolutely distasteful. It's beyond any sense of decency, which of course neatly sums them up. You may recall that Mr. Tate was a good Muslim when he decided that he really quite enjoyed those kind of barbaric aspects of Abrahamistic religions that allowed him to treat women badly. But now he's decided that that's actually a little bit too far. Oh, I don't really think he does have a sense of decency, because astoundingly yesterday his own bleeding brother decided to have a go at Samantha Smith. Here we go. For your information, I've deleted my post on Andrew Tate. I'm barely 20 and have spent the last few days reliving the worst years of my life in the public eye. That does some crap to you. Have some grace, please. So, Tate the talesman, can you stop the threats of legal action? I'm sorry, I'm quiet. And rightly so. How dare she say something to a bloke who's richer than her? I bet she hasn't got any Bugattis, eh? Beyond any sense of decency, beyond it. And yet there they all are, lining up to tell us what good, virtuous men they are. Yeah. Words seriously are failing me today. I've really had enough of this, to be quite honest, and we don't have a media that's prepared to actually put these people on the spot, or whenever it does so, of course, they're communists. Sky News, communists, aren't they? Yeah. BBC, all they're communists, aren't they? And the joyful news that Meta and Facebook and the rest of them aren't going to employ fact checkers anymore. Yes, why would they, when we can have the voices of Andrew Tate loudly every day telling us the things we need to do in our lives, because they are good, upstanding Christian men who only have our best interests at heart. Jaya. Do have a glorious midweek. If you can, stay warm. If you can, and if you can, try not to get too cross, because it really makes you fizzle. It really makes you fizzle and leaves a very bad taste in my mouth. Yeah. Or perhaps that's just the prawns. Yeah.